Your Northern Arizona Wranglers with a comeback victory for the ages out in San Jose, California. They defeat the top-seeded Western Conference Bay Area Panthers by the final score of 47-46. Ed, you and I are still in disbelief. What an effort there in the second half from the Wranglers. That game was 40-15, my friend, in the second half.
Just like Doug DeCero just texted me, Angels in the outfield. That was Coach Moran looking over us, willing us to victory. They were, as you mentioned, they were down 40-15. They were down 46-23. They were down 23 points in the second half, in the fourth quarter, JP. Just not the second half, the fourth quarter. They outscored Bay Area 32-12 in the second half. What a complete reversal. Talk about adjustments in the second half, JP. What a game, a second half comeback. As you mentioned, the greatest comeback I'm sure that we've had in our 4-year history. Absolutely.
Without a doubt, the greatest comeback that I've seen here in Northern Arizona Wranglers history. I mean, this team, you know, we talked about it, Ed, before we went live here just a bit ago. They could have laid down there when it was 40-15, but they kept fighting, kept battling. And then how huge was Axel Perez down the stretch for this ball club?
My goodness. Are you kidding me? It was 4 drop kicks. He had a 4-point drop kick field goal. He made a traditional field goal. And of course the deuce at the end. You and I were we lost our collective minds, folks. If you heard us, we were like, he made it. Are you serious? And then, oh my gosh, Coach Moran and the Moran family, this was absolutely for you.
Absolutely. No doubt Coach Moran smiling down right now on this Northern Arizona Wranglers comeback victory. Let's take a look at some of the highlights we were able to capture from half number 2. And what a play here from Shamar Moreland on the INT.
How big has Shamar been over the last three or four games, right? A pick last week against San Diego, and a pick here against DeQuan Neal. They didn't get anything out of it, but still, you took DeQuan Neal and that offense off the field. That's the most important thing. You took Neal and that offense away from what they were used to doing all game, which was scoring.
Absolutely so proud of the defensive effort there in the second half. They really held the Panthers offense in check after a first half where DeQuan Neal was literally lighting us up play after play, drive after drive. But you know what? The defense just stayed the course, stayed positive, kept fighting, kept battling, and that's all you can ask from a football team, right?
Yes. Again, they gave up 12 points, 2 touchdowns in the second half. That's what the defense gave up. So they really bottled down and kept DeQuan Neal and that offense in check, folks. And then again, 32 points, 24 in the fourth quarter, down 23 in the fourth quarter, folks. This team they did not give up. Again, they had the heart of Coach David Moran beating inside of them, and they were not going to lose this game for him. They were not going to lose this game for him or his family or the entire Wranglers organization or Wranglers Nation.
It really seemed like destiny this evening at the SAP Center in San Jose. Josh Jones played really well there in half number 2 too. Here's one of his rushing touchdowns. And that was critical right there, getting us back into the ball game.
Yeah, you know,
Josh Jones, one of those guys who just continued to battle all afternoon long for the Wranglers.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, JP. Yeah, Josh didn't have the biggest running game. I mean, they only had 36 yards rushing. It was that kind of game. You had to throw the football because Bay Area's defense, again, the second best rush defense in the entire indoor football league. Josh had 9 rushes for 23 yards, but 2 of those rushes were for touchdowns. So as you mentioned, he continued to grind and he kept putting the pedal to the metal. He kept fighting because he knew he had to bring his guys back, and he did. And 3 touchdowns. How big was Tosin Oyekanmi in the second half, JP? He was enormous.
Number 14 was huge down the stretch, paying huge dividends for the Wranglers, and he had a number of, I would say, converting receptions there in that second half to keep drives going for the Wranglers, and that's exactly what we had to have. Let's take a look at this right here.
Wow.
How about that? Axel Perez.
I can't believe he made that.
Sticking it through the uprights, put it up there in about row number 2, I would say.
Did he really make that, JP?
He did. He did. We got video evidence of it right there, Ed. Let's take another look at it. What do you say?
Yeah. Jenny, one for Coach Moran. You're right.
Just enough leg on that one from Axel Perez. And, you know, this young man has been special all season long, and we absolutely knew he could do it.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Did we not talk about the importance of special teams in this game and how big they would come up? And Axel Perez came up huge today with his drop kicks and that 4-point drop kick field goal and a traditional field goal, but none bigger than what you just played, that deuce.
Absolutely right. How about some
Yeah,
stats from the game here, Ed? Let's give them some of those
Yeah.
stats. A 47-46 win for the Wranglers. We mentioned it, down 40-15 at one point. And, we thought the postgame show was going to be a lot different than it is right now, a little bit earlier this afternoon. But, boy, what a comeback for the Wranglers, and what a fun ride home it's going to be for them either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, depending on what time they fly back from San Jose back to that Phoenix, and they get that bus ride back up to Prescott Valley. What a celebration they're going to have. But my goodness gracious, what a great – in the fourth quarter, we talk about third down, and you and I harp on this all the time, the importance of converting on third downs. They struggled all game long, but in the fourth quarter, they were 4 for 7. When they needed it the most, JP, they converted on those third downs, and they kept those drives moving. Is that not what we talked about all game long in the pregame and the halftime? Convert on third downs and keep those drives alive.
And not only were the Wranglers 4 of 7 on third down efficiency in that fourth quarter, but they also went 2 of 3 when they had to go for it on fourth down as well. And they just, let's face it, they made the plays when they had to make them and made them when they counted.
And here is what it was. It was a situation to the third quarter. The offense was anemic. They had scored just 1 touchdown, JP. Then all of a sudden, you look at those stats, folks. If you look all the way on the right side where it says P-yards, 67 plays. That's what the P is for NAZ. 310 yards. They had about 113 yards through the third quarter. And then they end up with 310 yards. They doubled what Bay Area was able to do offensively, 34 to 67 plays. You talk about completely flipping the course of a game and the way momentum swung. Uncle Mo, it swung clearly in Naz's direction, and it never left them.
It sure did. I was watching Coach Moss the entire game, and I never saw him get down, never saw discouragement on his face, just kept positive, kept patting the players on the back, saying, come on, guys, let's go, let's keep fighting. And that's what the team did this afternoon. Could not be more proud of this organization. And, hey, Ed, you know what? We are now still officially in the playoff hunt.
So if I could do my math, it looks like, the Rattlers won. They beat Tucson today, so they're now 10-5. So they're – let me see, by the virtue of their conference record, San Diego is still number 2. So Arizona will be number 3. So I would think that Northern Arizona will be number 4 because they had the same identical record as Vegas, folks, but we have a better conference record. We have 1 more conference win than Vegas does, and that's the first tiebreaker. And then if it went down to a second tiebreaker, they would have the tiebreaker over Vegas because they went out to Henderson a couple of weeks ago and beat them. So they've got at least 2 tiebreakers over Vegas. So I would think that NAZ will be number 4 right now. So they will be right back in the playoff hunt after being number 5, and we're just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I think not.
Absolutely hard to believe. Let's get you the standings. I see they've been updated officially now on the IFL website. So currently the Wranglers sitting right now just outside on the bubble looking in, and we're tied with Vegas 9-5. We have 1 more loss in the conference, so I believe it's for all the playoff marbles next week there against the Vegas Nighthawks as they come to Prescott Valley next Saturday.
Okay, so they based it because they have one less conference loss. I would it makes sense. But yeah, as you mentioned, oh my gosh, what a big game next week up in Prescott Valley when Vegas comes to town. I cannot wait for that game. But JP, they came back from the dead. They were down 23. You mentioned down 40-15 in the fourth quarter, 46-23. And they, like you said, they never lost hope. They continued to fight and scrap and claw, and they wanted this game, and they went out and they snatched it. Just like I said in the pregame, if you want this win, you're going to have to grab it from Bay Area because they're not giving it to you. You've got to go out there and take it for your own, and that's what NAZ did today.
I mean, how about the plays that they had to make down the stretch there, even in the final minute of the ball game where we knew they had to have a 2-point conversion and then they had to turn right around and get a deuce, and they got it done.
And then the 2 onside kicks, 2 consecutive onside kicks that they recovered and they scored off of.
Absolutely huge. Congratulations to the special teams unit for getting it done there. And wow,
and
what
again,
else can
JP,
we say about this game?
And again, JP, was that not for Coach Moran? Special teams?
Oh yeah.
Yes, that was it. Axel Perez, all of the things that he did today, and those onside kicks, that was for Coach Moran as well. Because Coach Moran would have coached those guys up to do exactly what they did in this afternoon's game.
Absolutely right. Once again, the final score from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. If you can believe it, folks, 47-46, the Wranglers snatching victory from the jaws of defeat out there in San Jose, California, and they move to 9-5 on the season, and the showdown is on next Saturday night inside the Findlay Toyota Center with the Vegas Nighthawks. Boy, you talk about a big game. It's not going to get any bigger than that, my friend.
No, sir. But Shane, we're going to celebrate this one. It's got to be the greatest comeback ever. But as you mentioned, oh my goodness gracious. Wow. That was a win. They absolutely desperately needed it. It was a must win, and they went out and got it. Even when it looked like the chips were down and everything was against them, and it looked like Bay Area was just minutes away from clinching home field and that #1 spot. It looked like NAZ was going to be on the outside looking in. They're still on the outside looking in, but they're a lot closer now, considering they've got Vegas, the team that's directly in front of them, coming to Prescott Valley next Saturday. I cannot wait.
It is absolutely within reach. We'll be on the air on the IFL Digital Network at 5:30 p.m. next Saturday night for the pregame show. And if you have a chance to be in the Prescott Valley area, make sure you get your tickets, because it is going to be a fun night of indoor football league action inside the Findlay Toyota Center. Ed, final thoughts here on this one. I tell you, what a game.
And as we said, this is for Coach Moran. Coach Moran, we love you. God bless you. Just keep smiling down on us from heaven. This was for you and your family. We know you were in the building. You were in San Jose with the guys, and you willed in the victory. You were in each and every player and coach and staff member in San Jose, and that's what helped us get the victory tonight, because you were inside of them, and you were inside of JP and I and all the fans that watched this game. This was for you and your family.
Special thanks to all of you who tuned in. We hope you enjoyed the pregame, halftime, and postgame show. And boy, the postgame show was magnificent here, Ed. After a thrilling comeback victory for your Northern Arizona Wranglers, they improved to 9-5 on the season. And the showdown next week is on with the Vegas Nighthawks as we compete one more time for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. For my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole, I'm James Poovey saying so long. Have yourself a great night, a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you next Saturday night in Prescott Valley, 5:30 p.m. on the pregame show on the Indoor Football League Digital Network. Go
Wranglers!